What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have the Mazda 787B in the Le Mans winning livery, and this one is from BM Creations. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at it and see if it is worth adding to your collection. So as always, let's get things started with our casting here. Taking a quick look at our proportions, everything is going to look pretty solid. No real complaints from me there. And we'll go ahead and kind of pop the real life car up in the left hand or right hand corner there so that you have a little bit of a comparison to this model. And then let's go ahead and break it down for us. So first things first, almost everything you're going to see here looking down is going to be metal that you would expect to be metal. Obviously our plastic parts are going to be our mirrors here, and then our rear wing, and then the supports for the rear wing as well. Pretty much what you would expect if you are a collector of high-end 1/64ths. Now, the base on this one is metal, and it actually is fairly nicely casted. There's a lot of detailing and whatnot that looks pretty solid here. And then you have just a lot of kind of plastic incorporated with your headlights, and then up here into your windshield and the rear wing and all that big fancy fun stuff. But overall, it is a fairly good bit of metal. All your body lines are pretty well accurate. All your cutouts and things that you would hope to see on the real life car replicated pretty nicely, in all honesty, and I don't really have any complaints to speak of. Paint and deco. So this is the famous renowned livery, fully licensed, so you're going to have all your sponsors where you'd want them to be for the most part. I haven't noticed any missing sponsors. It's very possible that there is one or two, but for me, it's definitely close enough. If there's anything missing, you even have some logos on the tires, so I'm pretty sure everything is fairly accurate to the real-life Le Mans winner. So that's very cool to see. This is the first release of it, and then there are a few more that have either been released since or are very soon to be on their way. But either way, if you like this one but not a big fan of the livery, there are other choices for you. And if you are a big fan of this livery, you'll be happy to know that it's been done fantastically. So for the details, so starting up front, you do get headlights. They are kind of a plastic insert thing. I'm not quite sure how they did it. They just kind of glued on these plastic bits. But yeah, they are there. Maybe not looking the greatest. There's some seams and gaps that's a little bit crusty, but overall it sits there fairly nicely. You get a little tow hook up front. It's going to be tough for you guys to see, but there is meshing behind this little vent here, which is definitely cool. Making your way down the sides here, you get all of your accurate little detailing here with the exhausts and whatnot. Accurate wheels here, although this one is white, and I think it's supposed to be like more of a silver in the real life car. Not really the end of the world though. Accurate rear wheels, very, very cool. You do get a little dab of silver paint on the mirror. It's going to be tough for you guys to see, so that is replicated though. Moving into the back section here, it's pretty accurate to what you'd see on the real life car. Not really much brake area to speak of as far as like brake lights and stuff. But that was kind of the way this car was in real life. Again, up top here, fully detailed, fully licensed, everything you'd really want to see. And overall, very, very solid go-around detailing. You can even see some what looks to be like a radiator or something down here, which is pretty cool. Obviously, some very nice details to go about. So, moving into the roll test, as many of you probably don't have any BM Creations models, I am happy to report that it does roll, although it's not going to roll quite as smooth as something like a Mini GT would, that's for sure. Now, going ahead and putting it on the scale, and it comes out to be 34.56 grams. So as far as metal on metal premium models go, it is a little bit on the light side of things, which is probably more due to the fact that it's kind of a smaller car than it is anything else. Pros and cons, getting started with our pros. The biggest pro is that this is a very nice replica of the Le Mans winner. There have been other Le Mans winners out from other brands before. Hot Wheels did one in their main line that lacked a little bit because it was in the main line. And then I think Sparky has one, Kyosho might have one as well, but those have been made a long time ago and were very tough to get at this point for a good price. So this one coming out gave collectors a new chance to grab this car and get it at a good price, which brings us to our second pro here, and that price was about $20. So no real complaints there when you factor in that price point at all. And for the cons, there's really only one, and it is that this thing is not seamless, okay? There's a few little hiccups here and there that we need to kind of mention, and you can probably already see, like, there's a few times the wheels can get a little bit, like, some gaps forming there. They're easy to fill up when you put the car normally in a position, like, but it is a little bit annoying. You kind of have to have the car laying down for it to look correctly a lot of times. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. However, these headlights here definitely could have been done a little bit better. They just look like they weren't cleaned up very good before they were stuck onto the model itself. And while it's definitely not a big deal, and you're really only going to notice it if you're really looking up close at it, it is still a bit of a disappointment. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some Hot Wheels endurance racers with the Hot Wheels Mazda 787B and the Hot Wheels Porsche 962. And here we have it with some more modern Le Mans competitors with the Toyota TS050 from Sparky and the Mini GT BMW V8 Hybrid. So let's find some overall scores for this one right here. The hype level, I'm going to give it a 9.45. The only reason it's a little bit low is because there have been so many other premium versions of this car that have been released, and it was pretty much only exciting for those of us that were missing one. Execution, I'm going to give it a 9.3. I think they did a very solid job. BM Creations is still pretty new to the 1/64 scale space and to diecast as a whole, so not really going to dock them too much there, but there are some things that they can fix in the future. For the feedback, I'm going to give it a 9.55. Pretty much everyone who has gotten one of these has enjoyed what they have received, and they are pretty happy with them. I've seen some people even saying that they prefer this over the Sparky, which is nice to see. However, the few little hiccups that there is, somebody described as atrocious on my Instagram comments. While I wouldn't go that far with it personally, it is a bit of feedback for you. That's not my own opinion. 9.55 there for sure. When we take these three scores and add them up and average them out, we will be left with the overall score of 9.43 out of 10. So I think that's a pretty good score, honestly, because this is a very nice replica at a very good price. You know, like the $20 is about the starting point for most premium brands at this point, so definitely worth it in my opinion. There's a few blemishes that could have been fixed or should be fixed in the future, but nothing that really is super distracting or anything like that. This is definitely perfect to add to any Le Mans winner collection that you have. If you've got any of the Le Mans winners, or if you're trying to collect all the Le Mans winners, this is definitely a good addition and will fit in nicely. So yeah, overall, I would say this is pretty good, and I would definitely recommend to any Le Mans collector or to any endurance collector or just a fan of famous and beautiful sounding cars. And with that, guys, that is all I have for this review. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and don't forget to leave a comment telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you guys in the next video.